JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Trader Seat Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 1st of June 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which I believe you can find useful if you visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Yep, it'll take you to this page, which, yeah, I believe, like I said, you can find it quite useful. There we go. Now, guys, jumping into the charts. The first one I want to pick up here is the German index, DAX, and look at this beautiful explosion here today. So far, everything's looking quite nice, and this is what I said to you guys, that if you want to go for the upside, well, wait for that pop above the 15,569 territory, which was the all-time high. But now, of course, we've created a new one, and the big question here is, can we see this index staying today above this hurdle, above this barrier? If it can, then yes, higher levels could be met. But as I've mentioned to you as well, if you remember, that in a way we keep seeing these initial false breakouts, and then basically a decline at the end of the day. We see the price, kind of the daily candle, closing below the previous all-time high. But again, let's see if that's going to be the case today. If it's not going to be the case, then yep, we will continue targeting the upside. Yes, of course, we might see maybe a bit of a corrective move here to the downside, maybe tomorrow, and then of course we'll still aim for some higher levels. But if this daily candle somehow drifts back down and stays below the previous all-time high near the 15,569 zone, then, well, I mean, maybe this is where we could see maybe a bit of a corrective move here to the downside, because so far, I mean, if we judge by the historic price action, which is technical analysis, then there has been a history of breakout first and then a corrective move back down. So keep that in mind. Now, Dow Jones Industrial Average. So looking at this picture here, you can see that, of course, yesterday the index was closed. I mean, the U.S. markets together with the UK markets were closed. Yeah, I mean, looking at this picture, everything still kind of is on the positive side. If we take a look at the cash index, we'll see that the price is pushing above the 34,741 territory right here. So we're basically above this area, and we're coming closer to the all-time high, which is roughly around the 35,091, 92 zone, approximately around here, guys. So will we see a new test of the or a new all-time high? We'll just have to wait and see today, guys. But at the moment, of course, everything's looking quite positive. Yes, we will continue aiming higher as long as it excuse me, as long as the price remains above this 34,741 territory, but if it suddenly starts dropping back below it, then all eyes are going to be on the last week's high, which is roughly, and this is where I need to drag this one very carefully. Here we go, near the the last week's high is near the 34,631. So if we get a drop below that one, then this is where maybe we could consider a bit of a larger correction to the downside. And let's not forget that any move lower up until this upside line taken from the low the 30th of October could be classed as a temporary correction. So keep that in mind, but for now, everything's leaning a little bit more towards the upside. So let's see if some of these barriers that were previously seen as resistance will provide good support now. So let's keep an eye on that one. Nasdaq 100. So Nasdaq 100 is also pushing a little bit more towards the upside. And to be honest, let me just actually clear up this chart and let's start fresh. So let's have a fresh look. Now, we have a short-term tentative upside line right here, taken from the low the 5th of March. So I'll keep an eye on that one for now. You can see that the last week the index hit this level here. That's the highest point of last week, near the 13,766 territory, approximately around here. And if we take a look at the cash index right now, we'll see that the price is actually, well, actually not like with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The price on Nasdaq 100 is a little bit on the modest side, so we're below the last week's high still. So again, let's see if we can push above it. And if we can, then my next target, and I do understand it's maybe quite too close here, but nevertheless I'll keep that in mind for now. The high of the 7th of May here, and that level is around the 13,815 territory, approximately around there. We do have the highest point of May, and let me just put that one on the chart very quickly right here. So that's the highest point of May, and that's roughly around the 13,955 zone. So could be the next target as well, but again, of course, as with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we're also going to aim for that all-time high, which is currently, let me just quickly double check. I think that's the, let's zoom in here a little bit. So, yep, the 14,073 territory, approximately around there. So that's our could be our next target. But again, before we could aim for that all-time high, certain clearances here will have to be done first. Of course, the first level needs to be cleared as the highest point of last week. Once again, near the 13,766, and then yes, slowly we will continue kind of aiming for the upside. For the downside, what you can keep an eye on here is basically somewhere around here. Now, I do understand that maybe it's a level that kind of got violated here a little bit, but for now, at this point, I will probably readjust this going into kind of closer to the end of this week, basically. But for today, for example, I'm going to keep an eye on this one, because if we see a drop below this hurdle, we would at the same time could have a drop below the 21-day EMA, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in and drag this one a little bit lower. But again, for now, we're leaning a little bit more towards the upside, but a break above last week's high is required first. DXY, the dollar index. So we are drifting to the downside, or should I say we were drifting to the downside initially, but we're seeing a bit of recovery here. Yesterday we drifted to the downside, and this is one of those moments, guys, where I keep telling you that wait for that confirmation break and a daily candles close, because here, for example, you can see that although on Friday we had a nice beautiful pop here, we went higher and we went above this barrier as well, the 90.29 zone. So in a way, this kind of opened the door towards higher levels, but the daily candle at the end of the day, ended up drifting back down and even back below the downside line. So we're still trading below the downside line. So this move higher here was seen as a false breakout. And basically, for now, I would say that as long as the this downside line kind of, let's say, I wouldn't say it remains intact because it kind of got violated already, but if, let's say, the price continues to trade below this downside line, then yes, lower levels could be met. However, as you can see previously, I talked about this 89.68 territory, which a break of which is required in order to aim for lower levels. And well, not only maybe a break, but also the daily candle remaining below that area. Yes, that could kind of attract more sellers. And yep, further declines could be possible. But at the moment, we're very, very careful here. Let's see how this is going to play out. And yep, let's keep an eye on this downside line, of course, as well. Now, WTI oil popping nicely to the upside here. And yep, this idea that I kept talking about, if you remember a while ago, and actually throughout this whole May, well, not this May, but yeah, well, this year's May, what I was saying that the 66.40 territory, that's what I was keeping an eye on. So, and I said that if we get a nice pop above it and we see the daily candle remaining above this area, then this increases the chances for a further move north, where our initial target will be the 67.94 zone or the 68 territory. And then we'll take it from there. So, well, we've managed to reach that. So, great news, great result. So, target achieved. Now, the big question here is, can we stay above the highest point of March, which just until today was the highest point of this year. So, we now created a new high for this year, and now let's see where we can go further. And what I was saying right now is that if we stay above this barrier, above this this area today, then, well, I mean, higher levels could be met. But if we start drifting back down and stay below this highest point of March, now this is one of those scenarios where, as with if you remember with the DAX, where I said that we could be seeing those false breakouts. Yes, a creation of a new all-time high, but and then kind of a drift back down at the end of the day. So. Here, of course, we don't have an all-time high, but if we can put it the highest point for this year. We've created the highest point of this year. Now let's see if we can stay above the previous highest point of this year. If we can, then yes, higher levels could be met. If we cannot, maybe we could be due for a bit of a corrective move here to the downside. But again, for now, let's keep it short and simple. Gold. Gold is quite interesting as well because also did push higher, did make a run here above the highest point of May. So we basically kind of the month of June started with a nice push higher here, a confirmation of higher high. However, so far we're seeing the commodity drifting back below this 1913 territory. If the price stays below this, then this hurdle, then maybe a bit of a corrective move lower could be possible. Now, of course, as you are aware, probably you should keep an eye on the NFPs on Friday. So those are going to be coming out. They're going to be heavily watched, and of course, dollar movement. Could be expected, and by movement I mean increased volatility. I mean, and we could see maybe slightly bigger spikes, which of course could have its effect on other instruments such as gold. And yep, for now, guys, a long story short, for now everything seems to be looking quite positive overall. But from the shorter term perspective, if, like I said, this barrier continues to provide resistance, then maybe a bit of a corrective move lower could be possible. Quickly on Ripple, to be honest, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because yesterday I spoke about this one, and basically we've traveled higher. So yes, we've hit this 1.0606 level, but as I said before, that in order for me to go for some higher levels, I need to see that daily candle to remain above that area. And then, yes, of course, we could go maybe for some higher levels. As you can see, the crypto pushed higher, overcame the 1.0606 territory, but this is where I also specified that to keep an eye on these EMAs is also quite an important task to do, because again, you can see that sometimes they do act as a very nice area of support or resistance, and today the 21-day EMA did its job as a resistance area. And yeah, I mean, for now, we'll be very careful, of course, as always. But if the rate here continues to trade above this 100-day EMA shown as the green line, then there is a bit of hope that we could see this one pushing higher. However, a clear break above the 21-day EMA would be needed. AD and ZD. So jumping into the few of the pairs here. Now, after we had this break of the little range here, a drop below the 1.0711, you can see that yes, we've drifted lower, we've reached our target, and we found support. And this is where I'll need to kind of adjust a few levels here. And we found support near this area, near the 1.06 zone, and just maybe fractionally above it. And from here, we are now rebounding, pushing higher, but we're still below all of the EMAs. Now, although we could see a bit of a larger correction here to the upside, as I said, we will class this as a correction as long as the rate continues to trade below all of its EMAs. And one thing as well, what you can do here is basically, let me just grab the where's that Fibonacci, guys? So there we go. So the Fibonacci retracement. So we can see approximately how much we can do here in terms of retracement. And yeah, so far what you can do here is keep an eye on this 1.0680 territory, which is the 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci. If we climb above it, this is where the 50 line could come in, 50% retracement could come in, and that's approximately around the 1.0705. So 1.0705 could be that other area for resistance if, of course, we see a push above the 38.2% retracement on the Fibonacci. But again, at the moment, that's the main target. Let's see how it's going to behave near that area, and if we can actually go a little bit higher for a larger correction here. If by any chance the pair starts falling back below the 23.6% retracement and stays, for example, this daily candle stays below it, then maybe we could be due for a continuation move lower a little bit earlier, and yep, we could see some further declines here. USD CAD, very quickly on this one, also something that I wanted to get rid of all these drawings here and start afresh. But if you remember, I talked about this long-term downside resistance line, which is still here, but at the moment I'm gonna ignore that on the chart and mainly focus on some of the well, actually I'm going to look at from the short-term perspective. So for now, what I'm looking at here is this basically. So I'm keeping an eye on this support zone, this 1.2013. That's this key area of support, the lowest point of May. We're approaching that area, and of course, it seems that we could be forming a possible descending triangle. So of course, according to all the TA rules, these patterns tend to break to the downside, but a confirmation break first is required. So that's why a drop below this 1.2013 territory might do the trick for more sellers. And then, of course, we'll start aiming much lower. And this is where we need to go back into 2014 almost, I think. Or actually, we're still okay with 2015. So the lowest point of 2015 is somewhere around here, guys. Let me just roughly around here. So yeah, this is going to be, I think, approximately. Is this the lowest point? Let me just check. No, that's not going to be the lowest. That's the lowest point of May of 2015. So let me just zoom in here just a little bit here. So let me just grab this. It's a very difficult one. So there we go. The lowest point of May of 2015. That level is approximately around the 1.1919 zone. So yep, keep your eyes on that one. If we get a nice drop below this hurdle right here, this 1.2013. For the upside, what I need to see here is at least a pop above the 1.2242 zone, because at the same time we would be placed above this downside line and above the 21-day EMA. GBP USD, so we saw an attempt to push higher. We did did that. Yes, we broke the highest point of February. We basically hit a new high for this year, but yeah, so far you can see that it's not really working well for the bulls. And after hitting this 1.4250 territory, the pair is now declining, and it seems that we could go for a bit of a corrective move lower. However, of course, keep your eyes on DXY as well. The reason why USD CAD is dropping lower is not because of the weaker dollar, it's mainly kind of stronger Canadian dollar due to popping oil here, and that's what's driving USD CAD to the downside. But here, for example, GBP USD, I mean, the dollar index, you can see that it's still holding on to kind of not really dropping lower, and this is what's kind of forcing GBP USD to drift a little bit more to the downside here. But what I'll keep an eye on here is the 1.41 territory, and as you drop below it, may also place the rate below the 21-day EMA here, and we could see maybe a bit of a larger correction to the downside. GBP CHF also, you can see yesterday I talked about this pair, and we again this is I really enjoy these ones. Basically, we got another false breakout. We didn't really, the daily candle didn't really stay above this hurdle. So, yep, now we're back to the 21-day EMA. Let's see if it actually can provide support this time. And let's, for now, still there is positivity, especially in the near term here. We can see a reversal move higher. We're currently getting a hold up by the 21-day EMA. We're still trading above the upside line. So yeah, I mean, there is still positivity. However, we need that confirmation break and a daily candle staying above the 1.2790 zone. Euro GBP. So Euro GBP is pushing nicely to the upside. As you can see, this barrier, the 0.8582 area, continues to provide support. Now we do get these overshoots here, but neither of the daily candles are able to kind of stay below it, and we're seeing a nice good move higher again. If you want to go for the upside here, well, of course you can, but again, a confirmation break is required, and this is where I'm going to use this line here, and I'm going to capture the high of the 25th of May near the 0.8672 mark. If we get a clear push above it, then yes, I'll aim for the upside. If we, but I'll be very careful near this barrier here, near the 0.8719, and then we'll take it from there, guys. And finally, EURUSD. So still, yesterday we've managed to climb higher. We pushed higher here, and today we're now once again testing this 1.2243 territory, or should I say, we've tested that area, but failed to push above it. So again, it's the same game plan remains. We're still above this upside line, so yes, there is a chance for a move higher, but we're still struggling, let's say, to move higher, move further north. So that's why I need that daily candle to move above this and stay above this area in order to go for the upside. So that's the kind of game plan for now. So guys, that's it for this session. I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and I really appreciate your views, guys, your likes, your participation here. So thank you very much on that one. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, I'm with my Traders Espresso. That's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.